Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to yet another episode of Let's Look at Some Architecture Projects. This is ArchitectReacts, and let's react. So, going on the main architecture blog here, it is Arc Daily. I've already looked at this pretty interesting bamboo treehouse, but let's look at this institute. Say Institute of Higher Learning in France. They have ones all over, but it is it's built all over France, and this one here is quite striking. So off the bat, let's just look at it. What you got here for me? And that's quite something. All of the very linear, monotone. They're trying to get the point across of all is one, but one can be many different things. Because they have all of these different, very vertical linear, often with institution work, they try and be strong and have very linear, square, concrete, because also it has to be practical. It has to be built. And you see these projections here. This all acts as a screen for these windows, because hopefully this is a south or a west side where it's receiving a bunch of light, and then so they have to pull these off, and it's probably nothing structural at all, but purely for the light. Oh wow, look at this interior shot here. That's a nice space, because from this stair here you can see down and up, and then even beyond and peeking, and that's quite nice. So this looks like a general courtyard here, but you just see the expression of the facade. It's being pulled off and projected from the actual main plane, which often people just see this plane box, but these projections and are really a sunscreen. But I don't know how much they're actually doing, but you can also see here the slope. Obviously that's a stair or ramp or something, but then this moment here where that looks like a walkway, but that doesn't, and that doesn't either, but they kept that horizontal. Interesting. I don't know why they would do that, but it looks like all of this circulation is at the front, or at least, well, not all of it, because it's a gigantic building, so you're gonna have a bunch of stairs. You're gonna need stairs everywhere. But this is another main space. It's really nice how they pull this whole element up, and they are able to connect these two interior courtyards, because often, even when there's courtyards in a building, multiple even, they often do not connect. So this is a really nice move. This very heavy stone piece picked up with these very small columns, and then glass is placed underneath. We're in this era that we're not all that impressed by concrete or steel or any kind of glass work, but really this is poetic. This is a poetic architectural move that pulls this heavy mass up and just slides the glass under, because it's really just these columns holding up all of this. And this, even though it has so much glass, due to the form and the shape and the area and the volume, I mean, it appears way heavier than if it was just a glass wall. This is a very nice moment there, and that's probably the nicest moment in the whole project. Beyond this main facade, it's interesting how they continued it over here and connected it back here to show you and reveal there's some kind of courtyard, something happening back here. And then they push this part out here, which I don't know if they necessarily have to, but maybe the program demanded. So here's a very classic one story, two-story space that architects love, because you really get to maximize the lobby by making it transportation. I mean, all of this is because also the lobby obviously is in and out, but here they make it so you can go both place here, and it's stacked, and then or you can kind of linger. The modern the Fort Worth Modern Museum in Texas does the same thing. Modern Art Museum by how am I blinking on the architect? It's by an amazing architect. And it's almost the exact same principle here of it is 2-in-1. Here it's a lot more grand, but you get the idea. And I mean, this is great for all kinds. I mean, this is an institute. This isn't so there's a lot of people coming in, and oh, so that sloped area was actually that sloped from all the way back here, right there. That is the auditorium, and that's a beautiful way in the facade to reveal what is happening on the inside by allowing the slope to naturally just take the facade. Like, you don't really, they do a lot here of putting stuff on the facade. You really want to pull stuff from the inside because that's where it'll be the most effective. Obviously, it's a play between the two. This is an interesting moment. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do. Oh, that's a walkway? That's weird. Well, they kind of gave up the space here because here there is this reveal, and you do show that structure, and it's really nice, especially architectonically, but spatially, you really want some more space to get into these rooms because I assume they're classrooms. It's kind of the layout of it. So it has these mini courtyards and then the main one. That's nice. It's almost like a swastika though, but that happens. Yeah, this is really nice. So on the ground floor, these connect, but these do not. I didn't even realize they had 3. So this must be that main entrance. Put that big open connecting facade, and then yeah, this is nice. And then here's just very basic. I mean, it's an institute, so they need so with an institute, you will have these moments where you can really push it, but most of it is prescriptive. I mean, they need this many students. They need, wow, these graphics. It's easy to read. They just slap these in here for the hell of it. I can't really tell all the windows. I mean, if I had this up close and personal, it'd be nice, but I do not. Well, yeah, I mean, that's an institute in France. I mean, I am of the firm opinion that all institutions of learning must be inspirational. I mean, how many of us went to school in something that looked exactly like a prison, and where do so many of us end up? Back in that same thing. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, I can sit here and try and react or critique all day, but really, this is outstanding for a public institution. I mean, for one, the public space, I mean, hopefully this would be incredibly utilized. I mean, the trees will grow and have this amazing canopy. So it's absolutely crucial. Excuse me. It's absolutely crucial to be able to have institutions of learning that are inspiring to learn at. I don't know, maybe that's a ridiculous idea. But let's read this. Let's see what these architects have to say. Text description provided by architects, of course. The building is organized around 6 spaces. The garden, 4 external courtyards, and the Pro Interieur, I don't know what that is, which connects to other spaces and the entrance to form the social heart of the institute. Between the compressed western half of the building and the open garden spans the library bridge. Oh, so that bridge is the library itself. Not that, man. Again, this is other, like, put the images of the thing you're speaking about right there. The library bridge is probably that thing back there. But they don't even show it on this one. Okay. I'm not gonna go to it. You all saw it. You know what I mean? Between the compressed western half of the building, the open garden spans the library bridge, which connects the community of scholars, professors, and staff with a series of interlocking halls, reading rooms, and loggia spaces. The outer form of the block is held by the 800 offices with a fine-grained structure sitting above the larger laboratories and amphitheaters, plural, below which have greater spans. At ground level, the structure is as open as possible so the public building spaces and the garden can flow together to form a continuous civic landscape. This needs to be an integrated presentation here. What are we doing? Like, I can only read so much and infer. I mean, I wonder how many people actually read all of this. So, the building sits within a master plan. If you're going to speak about the master plan, show the master plan in this image. You're just showing a plan. But the master plan for a plateau in Paris, which proposes streets, squares, and boulevards, poetically integrating landscape, learning, and industry. We explored the legacy of lawns, quadrangles, and cloisters in the great tradition of educational institutions in the making of the 21st century university building. We were inspired by a close study of historical precedents such as the Palais Royal. Let's look at all these. Let's see if any of these ring a bell to any of y'all. So the Palais Royal. This thing? I don't think that's right. Probably this thing. Oh yeah. So there's this loggia space and then these two contrasting outdoor gardens. So I can kind of see that formally. And then Paris and Trinity College. What's that look like? This right here. This is, oh yeah. This is like Harry Potter level. This is outstanding. With the just the internal arcade, and then Dublin and oh, they basically stole this right here. This master plan. They basically just stole this. I mean, they did more to it, and they made it better. Wow. Let's see. Oh, not that. Oh shit. Hmm. Wow. So they just stole this right here. So this building, how do I show this? This building here in plan, and is there an overall picture of the whole thing? An aerial? An aerial shot? No, I doubt it. So here's the plan of this, and then look at this. That's the exact same. So remember, people, great artists don't borrow, they steal. Because honestly, architecture is an art, but also it's a science in that people are trying to figure out problems over and over and over. And so many people have figured out so many different spatial problems, or at least have come up with ideas. So precedent. It's so important, especially with architecture, to study our past. But with everything, we must always study our past, because think of all the hours spent trying to solve problems. And then we have the gall to try and solve our own without trying to look and see if anyone's ever tried to solve anything ever? Come on now, look it up. Google's your friend. But often, especially with architectural precedent studies, it's very difficult to find real precedent through study, which is why going to a real library, especially fun at school, but I would just go and check out so many books, because books, they are online, but the content is not. The content of what's inside the book is not as readily searchable as the book itself. So go find the books. Own books. Own books. Yeah. That's my end of this. Own books.